ॐ प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तत्र वित्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः. I welcome everybody to the Gita Jnana Yajna program by Academy of Yoga and Oriental Studies, Bhubaneswar. This is a lecture series on Srimad Bhagavad Gita by Dr. Indulata Das, Director, Academy of Yoga and Oriental Studies, Bhubaneswar. This is lecture number 8 of Gita and Introduction. First of all, let us see the derivation of the word Gita. Today we will discuss about the name and the author and other things about Gita. First, the derivation of the word Gita. Why it is called Gita? The word Gita is derived from the dhatu or root gai. Gai dhatu means to sing, singing. Gayati, gayatah, gayanti. This is the rupa of gai dhatu. Now, gai dhatu plus ta pratyaya becomes Gita. Then, Gita plus tap pratyaya, tap in feminine gender, that becomes Gita. In masculine gender, it would become Gitaha, and in neuter gender, it would become Gitam. But since it has to be used in feminine gender, therefore, it is Gita. Now, the question is why in feminine gender, not in masculine gender or in neuter gender? Now, Gita is Upanishad. Upanishad is a feminine gender word. Gita is an Upanishad, and Upanishad is a feminine gender word. Therefore, Gita is used in feminine gender. At the end of every chapter, we find that Om Tatsati Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu. Here it is said that in Bhagavad Gita and that is in Upanishad. Bhagavad Gita Su, that is Saptami Bahuvachan, and Upanishad Su, that is Saptami Bahuvachan. Both are in feminine gender. So Gita is in feminine gender because it is an Upanishad, and Upanishad is a feminine gender word. Therefore, the word Gita. Now, what is Upanishad? The next question is what is Upanishad? Why Gita is called an Upanishad? Now, Upanishad is the name of knowledge. Upanishad is the esoteric knowledge, spiritual knowledge, which is kept secret from the general mass. It is not given to the general mass. It is not given to each and everybody who wants to get it, but it is imparted to selected few who deserve to possess it. It is given to those people, not on the basis of caste or creed or anything else, or gender or anything else. It is given to the persons who deserve to get it, who qualify to get it. And and what will they do? They will possess it, and they will give it to others who deserve it. So therefore it is kept secret. And Gita is called Upanishad because it is such an esoteric knowledge. It is such a spiritual knowledge. Upanishad is a spiritual knowledge, and Gita is an Upanishad because it is also a spiritual knowledge. Not only that, all the knowledge which is stored in the Upanishads, in all the Upanishads, there are more than 250 Upanishads, and the knowledge which is stored in Upanishad is stored in Gita. Gita is a small book, whereas Upanishads are many in number, but the essence of Upanishad is stored in Gita. Therefore, it is said that Gita is the milk of all the cows of Upanishad. If all the Upanishads are compared to cows, then Gita is compared to the milk of those cows. So Gita is nothing but the Upanishadic knowledge. Now, Gita belongs to what? Which book? Gita is not an independent book. Gita belongs to Mahabharata. Gita is a part of Mahabharata Bhishma Parva. And who is the author of Gita? The author of Gita is the author of Mahabharata. And who is the author of Mahabharata? Vyasa. Maharishi Vyasa is the author of Mahabharata. Therefore, Gita is authored by Vyasa Deva. Vyasa, who is also known as Veda Vyasa or Badrayana Vyasa. Now, how many adhyayas in Bhagavad Gita? There are 18 adhyayas in Bhagavad Gita. And this number 18 has many things. It is very important. In Mahabharata, Mahabharata has 18 parvas. The war of Mahabharata lasted for 18 days. There are 18 adhyayas in Bhagavad Gita, and there were 18 Akhyahini Sena soldiers in the Mahabharata war. So 18 is a very important number in Mahabharata. So the number of adhyayas in Gita is 18, and total shlokas, the total number of shlokas is 700. And the names of the chapters are called yoga. For example, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Karma Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Vibhuti Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, etc. And why it is called yoga? There is nothing specific. Yoga is just a name, merely name. And this yoga has nothing to do with Chitta-vritti Nirodha Yoga. Many people try to stretch it and make out many meaning. But here, yoga is exclusively a name. Those who are acquainted with Sanskrit literature, they know that adhyayas, chapters are named like Balli, Nishwasa, Uchwasa, etc. Many names of adhyayas. So here also, the word yoga is just a name, and it should not be interpreted otherwise. Many people try to interpret in many senses, but it has nothing to do with the yoga, which is Chitta-vritti Nirodha. Now the names of adhyayas and the number of shlokas. Let us see the names of the adhyayas and the number of shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. Number 1 is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. It has 47 shlokas. Then Sankhya Yoga, it has 72 shlokas. Then third chapter is named as Karma Yoga. It has 43 shlokas. Then fourth chapter is named as Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. That is 42 shlokas. Then fifth is Karma Sannyasa Yoga. That is 29 shlokas. Then Dhyana Yoga. That is 47 shlokas. Chapter number 6. Then chapter number 7 is Jnana Vijnana Yoga. It has 30 shlokas. Then number 8 is Akshara Brahma Yoga. It has 28 shlokas. Then number 9 is Raja Vidya Raja Guhya Yoga. It has 34 shlokas. Then Vibhuti Yoga. It has 42 shlokas. Then 11 is Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. It has 55 shlokas. Then 12 is Bhakti Yoga. It has 20 shlokas. Then number 13 is Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. It has 34 shlokas. Then 14 is Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. It has 27 shlokas. Then 15 is Purushottama Yoga. It has 20 shlokas. Then Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga, number 16. It has 24 shlokas. Then Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga, number 17. It has 28 shlokas. And number 18, Mukhya Sannyasa Yoga. It has 78 shlokas. The total number of shlokas is 700. There are 700 shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. Now, the background theme of Bhagavad Gita. Why Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is a knowledge given to, it is a lecture. It is a dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. And Lord Krishna imparted the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna on the battleground. And what led to this impartment of the knowledge? Why did Lord Krishna give a lecture on the battleground? Number 1, Pandava's life was full of injustice, humiliation and deprivation. They were humiliated because they were good people. Yudhishthira is Dharmaraja. Injustice was done to them, humiliation and deprivation. Even the Maharani Draupadi was humiliated in the court of the Kauravas. And deprivation, the Pandavas were deprived from the palaces. They were forced to live in forest for 25 years in 2 phases. They had to live in forest for 25 years. And they were denied the basic rights of their life. They were forced, therefore, at last, they were forced to fight. When they begged, when they fulfilled all the conditions of the dice game, and they lived 13 years in the forest and came back and they wanted their kingdom back as per the condition, they were denied. And even they went to the extent of begging 5 villages, but they were denied. And at last, they had to fight. They were forced to fight, we should say. And why this battle? This battle was to establish dharma. Because a lot of adharmas, a lot of injustice was being done to the Pandavas, and it was the battle became unavoidable, and it was fought to establish dharma. But when Arjuna came to the battlefield, he was confused when he saw his relatives on the field. When he saw his relatives, and because it was a battle between brothers, so all who came to fight among themselves, in both the sides, Arjuna saw his relatives in the field. And then he was overpowered by emotion. And then non-duties came in the garb of duties to his mind. He felt that no, I am not going to do the right thing. I am committing sins. So these non-duties came in the garb of duties. He was confused. So Lord Krishna had to deliver the knowledge to him. And if we see only one point in Bhagavad Gita, that is the point, what is dharma and what is adharma, what should be done and what should be avoided. That is the main teaching in Bhagavad Gita. Then next we come to some main points in Gita. Number 1, come out of your emotion when you are taking a decision. When Arjuna was overpowered by emotion, he could not take a decision. Then he surrendered to Lord. He said, I am unable to take any decision, please guide me. Then Lord Krishna guided him. He told him what his duty was and what his duty was not. He said, know what your duty is. Don't mistake non-duty for duty. Don't mistake it. You have no control over the result. In one shloka, Arjuna says, I don't know whether I should fight, whether I will win or I will lose. For that, Lord Krishna said, you have no control over your result. You can only perform the duty. The result is beyond your capacity. You don't have control over the result. The only thing you can do is your duty. And then result will come automatically. And then the fourth point is, this is possible when one has an equanimous mind. If your mind is equanimous, your mind is samattam yoga uchyate. Your mind is not tilted to any side. Then only you can take a correct decision and you can see your duty perfectly. Then he says, be an instrument of duty only. Don't think that I am doing this. You have to do it. You are supposed to do it because you are an instrument only. The instrument cannot decide whether he has to do the work or not. So become an instrument. Nimitta matrang bhava sabya sachin. Then Lord Krishna says, don't run away from life. In one shloka, Arjuna says, it is better to beg than to fight a war like this. I don't want to fight with my relatives. I will eat by begging. So he says, Lord Krishna says, don't run away from your life. Remain in the life and fight. Then Gita is full of hope, full of optimism. Gita fills us with maximum optimism. There is no nairasya. There is no pessimism in Gita. It is full of optimism. And again, there is a very important point. It is never too late to correct oneself. Apiche sudracharo bhavate bhajate ma mananya bhak sadhureva samantapya samyak vyavasita vesa. Even if it is too late, don't think that you cannot correct yourself. You can correct yourself whenever you are convinced that you are not doing the right thing. Then, number 9 is when there is no other way, surrender to the Almighty. Or I may say that when you cannot decide what to do and not to do, then surrender yourself to the Almighty, who is always with you. Because the Lord is always in our hearts. So if we surrender to the Almighty, He will tell us what is right and what is wrong. He will show us the path. Then God takes care of him who works while surrendering to the Almighty. If we perform our duties while surrendering to the Almighty, then there is no scope of doing wrong. Everything, whatever we do, will be done by the Almighty. Then there is no question of being wrong or doing wrong. So these are the main points of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita teaches us to live a correct life, a truthful life, a life full of duties. So thank you for listening to this lecture. If you have any doubt, you may write in the comment box. I shall be very happy to answer your questions.